Hey YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back into Oh Hey Sports, and today I'm going to be doing a tier list of where I think each NFL team is going to end up at the season. We have S tier at the very top, and then of course your classic A, B, C, D, and F. S being the Super Bowl teams, S Super Bowl just kind of makes sense. F for, well, rebuilding. I don't know, failure, rebuilding. Yeah, you get the idea. Lag. Oh yeah, it'll bounce back. It's just my internet. It'll bounce back here in a second. Okay. But anyway, I've always wanted to do like one of these tier lists, and I thought this would be kind of fun to do. So I am going to do it. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and bring this down. Now, for those of you who are in the know and caught my last stream on Twitch, I did one of these earlier and had some bad echo off in the back. That was not very fun. So, with that being said, if you hit that, still trying to figure this out. If you like this, if you like the video, like the video. If you dislike it, dislike it. But let's go ahead and jump into it. Here we go. So, first things first. We have. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. I did one of these last week, but like the lag in the video and stuff was really bad. So I'm gonna compare and actually contrast the two things that the two at the very end here. But let's go ahead and jump into it. First things first, we have the Baltimore Ravens. Where do I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to end up? Again, I have intentionally not looked at my list from last week. I'm kind of curious to see what's going to be different. I think the Ravens are going to be really good this year. I don't think they're Super Bowl contenders, but I think they're more than likely going to win their division. I'm going to go ahead and drop them in A tier. And I will, if I have multiple teams in A tier, I'm going to actually have them from left to right, from, in my opinion, what will be from best to worst. So we will definitely keep that. We'll keep that in the back of our mind as well. I'll try and get so that way we can actually have kind of a 32-1 overall. Here we go. Hang on, let me go ahead. I actually kind of want to pull up the divisions over here on my other screen just so I can kind of get an idea of, just so I can remind myself who's in what division, because I get dyslexic and I forget who is where. I don't want NFL predictions. I want NFL standings. Thank you. Here we go. Okay. So, but moving on, the Chargers. Chargers are a little bit of a tough one for me. I'm just, and by tough one I mean I'm curious to know. I'm curious as to where I think they're going to end up. I think. Do I put them in S tier? I genuinely think they're probably the best team in the NFC West. But I'm really reserving S tier for teams that I think are genuinely have a shot at the Super Bowl. I don't think the Chargers have that. But I do have them winning the AFC West, which is probably going to be, oh man, probably the best team in the best league or division in all of football. Steelers to the playoff just because Tomlin, honestly, yeah, and I'm going to touch on that in a little bit. They're on here somewhere. Where are they? Yes, thank you, Diablo. Yeah, they're on here too. Okay, cool. Yeah, but yeah, I agree. I tend to agree with that. Steelers playoffs more than likely. Yeah, so I'm probably, A team definitely playoffs. B are kind of, B, C are going to be on the cusp. D and F likely, probably, not going to make it. Probably going to be your third team in each division here in D tier. And then F is just the teams that are probably going for that number one overall pick. The Browns. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, so the Browns, now that we know what's going on with Watson, so he is going to miss 11 games. 11 games, that's a lot of the season. And, of course, his first game's back against the Texans. Surprise there. Who didn't see that coming? I don't think the Browns are going to be that good, honestly. I don't. They have a lot of, really great tools, but I think just kind of all the things going on around that team right now, they're just not going to be good. It's going to be a distraction. I'm going to be generous and put them at C tier, I think. With all the distractions going on with that team right now, they're not going to be good. They're going to finish 500 at best. Anyway, moving on from them, I don't want to dwell too much on the Browns. But not Cleveland, Chicago, the other C team in that area. And by C team, I don't know if I'm going to put them at C. I'm actually going to put Chicago at D. They got some good things going for them. I think Justin Fields may take a good step in the right direction here, but I think it's going to be a make or break year for Fields at quarterback. Going to be really interested to see if he's going to be the future quarterback of that team. I think if the Bears don't really make a lot of noise this year or make a lot of moves, I'm wondering if they actually start to pass on him and they start to on Justin Fields and start to maybe look at this quarterback class coming up, which is supposed to be absolutely phenomenal. One of the best quarterback drafts coming out of college in I don't know how long. So we'll see though. I don't know. We'll see. You get it? We'll see. Bears logo. We'll see. Sorry, bad joke. Okay. Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is, again, I think this is going to be kind of a make or break year for them. I don't think they're in the best division all that much. I'm going to go ahead and drop them in at B tier. Well, I do have them winning their division. But, here's the thing. The Giants are freaking terrible. The Giants aren't going to do anything. There we go. Sorry, my thing had to load over here. The Giants aren't going to do good. I really don't think the Commanders are going to be worth a damn at all. As a matter of fact, with all the reports coming out, and I'll touch on this again a little bit once I start talking about them specifically, but there's a lot of stuff coming out of the Commanders camp about Justin Fields and just how he is not, or not Justin Fields, I'm sorry, about Carson Wentz and how he has just not had a good camp. And yeah, I think the Washington Commanders are definitely going to be a team looking forward, but how I'm going to relate that back to the Dallas Cowboys is this. I think having such a weak division, they do, because really it's just them and the Eagles, who I think are pretty solid. But the Cowboys really, I think they're actually pretty just damn mediocre, all things considered. Dak Prescott, I think I'm not a Dak hater by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know if I would necessarily call him a top 10 quarterback. I've not really agreed with everyone on that. I think he's had moments that he's looked like a top 10 quarterback, but he's really always had to have a lot of things around him to make him look successful. He's got CeeDee Lamb. And if CeeDee Lamb has has the year that I think a lot of people are thinking he's going to have, he as one of the best potential receivers in the NFL, I think those two are going to have a really great connection. But outside of that, I really don't see it. Ezekiel Elliott's getting older. There's a lot of question marks about on their run game and their defense. I'm going to put them at B tier. I think they will end up with 12 wins, but again, I think that's going to be the result of just being in a weak division. The Detroit Lions, I think, are going to be a sneaky good team this year. I'm actually going to drop them in at C tier. And the reason I'm going to put them in at C tier is I think they're going to be around a 500 team. I don't think they're going to be as bad as they were last year. I think Jared Goff is a pretty solid quarterback. I don't believe that it's going to be a repeat of last year. They just have way too many. They're really young, so they're not going to win, a ton of games. I think a lot of the games they were in last year were close, that they lost. I think they're going to turn around and win. So I can see them being a good 6, 7, maybe even 8-win team if things start to kind of break their way. But you have Minnesota in there, who's going to be a really good team. Who I think is going to be a great team, and you have, of course, Green Bay, who is going to be a tough out, either at home or away for the Lions. So we'll see. But I think they'll be a sneaky good team. And by sneaky good, I mean sneaky good by the Lions standards at 6 or 7 wins. So let's be honest. But much better than last year, and I think they'll be very entertaining. They are going to be one of my teams to watch this year. But speaking of that division, Green Bay. Where do I put Green Bay? So, do I think they're a Super Bowl team? No, I do not believe they are. Do I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a repeat of a year that he did the year before? Not likely, although I think he will be a top 5 QB in the league. Excuse me. God. Oh, I got to think about this. Okay. They are in a weak division. They're going to win. They have a division in front of them that is going to be very, very winnable. I think, maybe they split with Minnesota. So that's one there. I think they probably rattle off 3 or 4 wins against the other teams in their division. I don't think their schedule is really that difficult. I think the loss of Adams is really going to hurt Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers, since he kind of went down to, I believe it was Peru, and took part in that ceremony with that tea, he genuinely seems to have a new lease on life and kind of a new outlook. We'll see how that translates onto the football field. I'm kind of hoping for the best for him. I always like it when people make changes for the best. So we'll see. But I think as far as an overall team, I'm going to drop them in B tier, but I'm going to put them at the top of B tier because I think they'll definitely make the playoffs, but I think it'll be more as one of those wild card teams. I don't think they necessarily win the division, although I think it'll be close. Because I think Minnesota is going to be winning that division, and I'll get into that a little bit later. The Atlanta Falcons are going to be sneaky good this year, I think. I think Mariota, so in 2 preseason games, Mariota has looked really, really good. Let's see. I'm going to go Atlanta Falcons. Let's go. I want to go ahead and actually kind of bring up his stat lines just to kind of show you what I mean here. Let's see. Let's go Marcus Mariota. Let's bring up the stat lines here. Because even though, again, he's only been playing sparingly these last couple of games, he has been playing really well. And his ability to run, which he showed in the first preseason game, I think is still going to be really, really important this upcoming season. Let's see. Do they have his preseason stats here? Passing, rushing. That's regular season. I don't want that. I want preseason. Let's go Atlanta Falcons box score. Falcons. Okay. Rushing, passing. Here we go. So here we go. So Marcus Mariota, 6 of 10. 132 yards and a touchdown. Pretty straightforward, pretty awesome. And then I don't believe he ran a whole lot this game. It doesn't look like it. But his other game, let's see here. Let's go back to was it Falcons-Lions? Friday, August 12th? Yeah, here we go. Marcus Mariota, 2 for 2 for 36 yards, but check out these. 3 runs, 23 yards, 7.7 average, and a touchdown. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this was all in one single drive too. Point is, I think Marcus Mariota is going to actually help bring the Falcons up. I think you have Pittman, who's going to have is it Pittman or Pitts? I can't remember, but they're tight end. That guy is going to be. I think he's going to have a breakout year. I'm going to go ahead and drop them. I think they're a possible playoff team. I don't know if I have them I don't know if they'll necessarily make it, but I'm going to go ahead and drop them at the top of C tier, I think they're going to be a team that's going to be on the cusp. I don't have them up here with Green Bay and Dallas, but I think they will be a really good team. They have a lot going for them. Houston, I think, is going to be a rebuild team. I'm not even going to spend a lot of time on them. I'm going to put them down here at F. The one thing I will say that Houston has going for them is I think there's some question marks around Mills, and I mean that in a good way. So Davis Mills, their quarterback, great sense of humor. He's a funny guy. He definitely showed some promise last year, and I think that the Texans want to give him a year, see what they have in him, maybe to see if he is the quarterback for their future, and there's someone that he can build around, because I don't even think he's really that old. Yeah, Davis Mills, because he's only been in the league 2 years or something like that? He's not that old. Davis Mills is, so he was 2021 third-round draft info. Yeah, he's 23 years old. So he's still young. I think there's going to be a lot of questions around him. His last year's stats actually really weren't that bad for a rookie, for a first-year quarterback. Yeah, 2,600 or 2,500 yards. I don't even think he played the entire season. I mean, he didn't start all 16 games or 17 games. We had 16 TDs, 10 interceptions. QBR 30.5. Okay, that's not great. But overall, I think they may have something in here. And for them, if you're the Houston Texans, you're looking at this and going you know what? If he doesn't pan out, throat goat. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, hold on. I did a TikTok actually on it because it was funny. Davis Mills neck. Just this guy is, It was this picture that came up for him. In this, and it was, I guess he was a good sport about it. He made a lot of funny jokes, but this is what people mean when they refer to Davis Mills as the throat goat, just the huge long neck, really sticking his neck out there this year. Yeah, so you're gonna hear a lot of jokes and memes about this upcoming season, but I guess he saw this, And he thought it was he had a good laugh with it. What did he say? Davis Mills neck joke. What did he say? Davis Mills is very very aware of all these neck jokes. Let's see. What did he say? I definitely noticed it. I have some friends send it to me right when it started blowing up. I never laughed so hard, Mills said before giving a shout out to the Twitter users. Oh, come on. Stop it. I never last saw her, Mills said before giving a shout out to the Twitter user making photoshops of his neck. I think this is great. Davis Mills is the MVP of funny, or of the MVP of just like good guys in the NFL. Like I love it's been great. That being said, if you are the Houston Texans, I think you have this year to see how he does. I think with the draft again coming up next year of this great quarterback class, I think it's a very good time for you to see what you have in him and to go from there. So I think this is great. I'm going to move my picture up a little bit more because I don't think it's going to extend that far. There we go. But yeah, Houston Texans, not going to be good, but it'll be interesting to see what happens with Davis Mills. Throat cut. I love that. I always love guys with a good sense of humor in the NFL. Yeah. Ryan Fitzpatrick's been great. My fellow Washington State Cougar, Gardner Minshew. Yeah, just guys with, good humor. I love it. The Colts. I think the Colts are going to be really good this year. I think now that they have a quarterback in Matt Ryan, with that running back in Jonathan Taylor, and I believe they have, I think they're just going to be really, really good this year. I think Matt Ryan's going to take that team all the way to easily winning that division. Because again, they're a division they are going to have a pretty solid road because their division isn't exactly the strongest. Yeah, Jacksonville, Houston, and Tennessee. So it's not going to be the toughest of challenges for them moving forward. I would love to see Matt Ryan absolutely take this team to the playoffs, though. I think that would just be incredible. Or not only that, not just to the playoffs, because I think they'll get there by virtue of winning their division, but to see them make a deep run in the playoffs, I think would be so fantastic. And holy crap, could you imagine if Matt Ryan takes that team to the Super Bowl or wins the Super Bowl? I think that just, there's been a lot of people who are on the fence about Matt Ryan being a Hall of Famer. He takes this team on a deep run to the playoffs, if not a Super Bowl. He's in the Hall of Fame no matter what, no questions asked. But I'm going to go ahead and drop them at the back end of, are they better than Baltimore? Definitely not better than the Chargers. Are they better than Baltimore? That depends on Jackson. If Jackson stays healthy all year, they're going to be a phenomenal team. I'm going to leave them there. I think the Colts, A tier, kind of on the back end of it, I think is good. The Washington Commanders. I don't think they're going to have a good year. First I was a little bit more, I was a Carson Wentz believer for a long time, and, I still hold out a little bit of hope for him, but if the reports coming out of camp are true that it's just not been good, I really don't think they're going to be in a position to win a lot of games this year, even in that division. I'm going to go ahead and drop them here. I think they're better than the Texans. Maybe I put them on the back end of D tier. I don't think they're going to be a team that's going to be like competing for the number one overall pick, but let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to drop them down here on F tier. I think they might be, actually. I'll put them at the top of F tier. I might move them up to D tier when it's all said and done, but we'll see. I just don't think that's going to be a good team this year. I think if you're a Washington fan, my condolences. Now, moving on to another team that I think is going to be pretty fun to watch this year, although I don't think they'll be good, will be Jacksonville. There's been a lot of talk about Trevor Lawrence and how he does seem to be making the right steps, that he's getting better, that the league is slowing, that the NFL speed is slowing down for him. The game's starting to open up. I think he's got some receivers there that I think could help him out pretty significantly. That there's still some questions around that O-line. But I think, because they drafted an offensive lineman in the first round, right? Yeah, 2022 NFL draft. I think they know where their priorities lie, and I believe that, because if I'm not mistaken, it was, oh my gosh, load. Thank you. Jacksonville. Detroit Lions, Adrian Hutchinson. Yeah, we saw that. Oh, Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, oh, they got Trayvon Walker. That's right, defensive end. But I believe they drafted a lineman pretty early. Let's go Jacksonville. They drafted a linebacker second. I believe it was in the second round they drafted an offensive lineman. Am I going crazy? Did they not draft an offensive lineman? Oh my God, that would be bad if they did not draft themselves an offensive lineman. That would be bad. That would be bad news Bears. Or bad news Jags, I guess. All right, second round. Edge rusher. Ooh, they did. No, Jackson. Ooh, maybe they did not. Jacksonville, what are you doing? Linebacker. Okay, here we go. Yep, first overall pick in the third round. Yep, center from Kentucky. Yeah, Luke Fortner. Yeah, okay. All right, never mind. I retract that previous statement. Okay. Because it was from my understanding, it was also a good draft for offensive linemen last year. And if they could get a really good offensive lineman that fell to the third round, good on them. Because I know it was a big, heavy defensive draft too. Okay, but I still don't think they're going to have the greatest year. I think they'll be better than last year. I'm going to go ahead and drop them in D tier, actually. I don't think they'll be in contention for the number 1 overall pick again this year, but I think they'll be better. I don't think they're going to be as good as the Bears, but I think they will be a team to watch. I'm really excited to see what Trevor Lawrence can do this year. Now, Kansas City. I really have a hard time taking a team from the AFC West and dropping them anywhere below A tier. I think that entire division, if I were to wake up from a coma in a couple of months after the NFL season is over, and you were to tell me insert AFC West team won the Super Bowl, I'd believe you. Okay, I might be a little surprised if it was the Raiders, but that's just because, like, as you know, if you know me, you know the Raiders are one of my 3 teams, and I don't know. For them to win the Super Bowl, like I would have to see it to believe it, even as good as they are going to be this year. But Kansas City, I think I'm going to drop them. I mean, I think they're going to put them in A tier. I don't know if they're going to be necessarily in Super Bowl contention this year. As a matter of fact, I actually have them at the bottom of the AFC West. I mean, granted, I have them winning like 11 or 12 games, or 11 games at the bottom of the AFC West. And the only reason I say that is because they also have a pretty challenging schedule. Yeah, like, I mean, check this out. Okay, hang on. Let me show you their schedule that they're dealing with. Because it's not an easy one. Kansas City has got their work cut out for them pretty bad. Full schedule. Like, let's go ahead and take a look at this. I think they'll split their games in the AFC West, but I don't think they're going to be a team that is going to be in contention to win the AFC West because their regular season schedule is pretty tough. Yeah. At Arizona, that's not going to be. I think they'll win that, but it's not going to be an easy game. And then they're hosting the Chargers at the Colts. That could be a loss. At Tampa Bay, that could be a loss. Hosting the Raiders, that's a toss-up. Hosting the Bills, that's going to be the game of the week right there. That will be incredible to watch, but I think the Bills may potentially get revenge. And then at San Francisco, who's a good team, they could be 500 by the time they reach their bye week in week 8. So I think, and then it's like it does ease up a little bit. Here we go. Yeah. Hosting Tennessee, hosting Jacksonville, dubs. At Chargers, probably a loss. Hosting the Rams, that's a tough one. Then at Cincinnati, at Denver. Okay, that's an easy one. And then that's a tough one. And then at the Raiders, that's going to be a tough one. The Kansas City Chiefs just have a tough schedule ahead of them. And as talented as this team is, I just don't see them making that big of a jump forward. Although I do think Juju Smith-Schuster is going to be a sneaky fantasy pick. So for all of you folks out there who play fantasy football, I think Juju Smith-Schuster will be a good pickup. But good Lord, I do not envy Kansas City's path to the schedule this year. It's going to be a long season for Kansas City. Granted, like I said, they'll still win, I think, 10, 11, maybe even 12 games. But it's going to be a long season for Kansas City. Speaking of teams, they're going to be in for a long season. The Panthers. So it came out earlier this week that the Panthers have officially named Baker Mayfield as their Week 1 starting quarterback. Cool. I'm glad. If I'm a Panthers fan, I'm glad they went ahead and just made that decision. Whether it was going to be Baker or whether that was going to be Donaldson or Sam Darnold, excuse me. I'm stoked for the Panthers making that decision just to go forward, just to make that clear, to make it so it's. You're not going to have any distractions. You have your guy. You're going forward. You're going to see what happens. And just to kind of add, just to kind of like throw a little extra in there as well, their first game is against none other than the Browns. I think Baker's going to be out for revenge. I hope he has a great game. I think that would be a lot of fun. I don't see them as a really, really great team. I love Christian McCaffrey. I think he's a top 3, if not the best running back in the league when he's healthy. That's a big if. I don't think he's ever really completed a full season. So I'm going to go ahead and drop them. I'm going to drop them at C tier. No, I'm going to drop them at the front of D tier. I think they'll be okay, but I could see them winning 5-6 games this year at most. I just don't really see them winning all that much. Taking a drink because I'm going to like this one. Okay. The Raiders. My Las Vegas Raiders. I think they're going to have a great year this year. Now, there are still some question marks around that defense, particularly the secondary. But on the offensive side of the ball, I don't think there is a team with more loaded weapons. You have Withrow, you have Walker, you have, of course, Adams. They have Josh Jacobs at running back. A decent offensive line. You have an offensive-minded coach. I really don't see the Raiders being bad this year. And in conjunction with their schedule, their very easy schedule, mind you. I mean, they do have some tough games, but the Raiders are fortunate enough that pretty much all of their home games are against the teams that are going to be difficult to beat. And all of their road games are against, with the exception of one, is going to be are very, very, very winnable. Like here, let me show you. Brief schedule check. So here's what I mean by this. Once it loads, come on, view full schedule. There we go. The Raiders' schedule is going to be a lot of it's gonna they got it good. Okay, here we go. Preseason. Regular. Okay, here we go. So at Chargers. I think that's probably going to be a loss. I pretty much have the AFC splitting it down the middle. The home team's probably going to win. So each team's probably going to go 3-3. But at the Chargers, that's probably going to be a loss. And then they're hosting Arizona, who's a good team, but again, they're hosting in Vegas. And then at Tennessee, and then hosting Denver. And then they're at Kansas City. That's going to be a tough one. So the Raiders, are potentially going to be a loss, win. So probably around maybe 3-2 by the time their bye week hits in week 6. But then check this out. At home against Houston, that's a dub. At New Orleans, I don't think New Orleans is going to be that good at all. W. At Jacksonville, W. And then their host, again, they play a good team. It's at home. Here come the Colts. But again, it's in Vegas. So the Raiders have that going for them. And then they're at Denver. That's probably a loss. But then, again, going out of the AFC West, at Seahawks, that's probably going to be a W. And then they're hosting the Chargers. That's going to be a tough one, but it's in Vegas. It's a tough team. But this is going to be the big one. Week 14 at the Rams. So my brother is a huge Rams fan. The Rams are his team, and I cannot wait to watch this game with him. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. We may have to live stream it just for fun. I think that would be a ton of fun to do. All right. And if for those of you in chat, because I am live streaming this on Twitch, if you happen to enjoy the video I got going on here, please feel free to hit that follow button. I'm trying to reach affiliate. You can see my little tracker there up in the top left. Feel free to hit that follow button. I'd love it if you did. I hope you all are doing well. Thank you. And then kind of getting back to the Raiders. Hosting New England again, tough team, but it's in Vegas. They got that going for them. At Pittsburgh, that's a W. Hosting San Francisco, that's going to be tough. Like Peyton and Eli. Yeah, exactly. My brother and I will have. Yeah, exactly. Just like Peyton and Eli. Me and my brother Jesse live streaming it. I love it. And then, of course, Week 18. This is going to be must see. It is going to be Kansas City coming to town. We got the old rivalry. Kansas City versus, well, depending on where they are, I'm just going to say the Raiders, Chiefs-Raiders, just that old rivalry. I cannot wait to see it. This is going to be a very pivotal game, I think, for the standings. And for Kansas City, potentially to make the playoffs. So, with all that being said, I think the Raiders are definitely A tier. I think they're going to be better than Kansas City because the Raiders just have more going for them on the offensive side of the ball. I actually have the Raiders winning this division very much in the same way that I have the Raiders winning this division, but I don't necessarily have, just because of their easy schedule, I don't have them as the best team in this division. I actually think it's the Chargers. The Chargers are probably the best team in this division, but I don't have them winning it because they have a more difficult schedule, and the Raiders are just being gifted a very generous schedule. Now, I think we have our first S team here finally. Speaking of the Rams, we got the Rams, the defending Super Bowl champs. I think Stafford is being criminally underrated. I need to do like a quarterback tier list at some point, but I've seen a couple of people do these, and they have Stafford out of the top 10. How? How do you have Matt Stafford out of the top 10? It makes zero sense to me. He's a winning Super Bowl quarterback, the defending Super Bowl champ. You could make an argument that he could have won the MVP, the Super Bowl MVP. He had a phenomenal season. Yes, he had a lot of weapons, and Cooper Kupp had one of the best seasons a wide receiver has ever had. But to keep Matt Stafford out of your top 10, to me, is just absolutely asinine. What are you doing? How can you call yourself a football fan and leave Matt Stafford out of the top 10 for quarterbacks? It just makes absolutely no sense to me. It would not be surprised at all, not in the slightest, if the Rams, who are going to absolutely dominate that division, the NFC West, I don't know how you don't have them as a potential Super Bowl champion again. They're potentially going to repeat. So, Rams, first S-tier team, congratulations. Honestly, you've earned it. Now, speaking of the NFC West, moving on to another one of my teams, the Seattle Seahawks. So, I'm Pacific Northwesterner. I love my Seahawks. They are, however, not going to be good this year. I love them, but again, move myself up a little bit more here. They are going to be terrible. I don't think they're going to be F tier. They do have some pieces that I think will be pretty decent, but I don't think they're going to be good at all this year. I'm going to go ahead and drop them in D tier. I'll actually go ahead and put them at the top of D tier. I think they're probably a 5-6 win team at best. It's not the worst division. They're not in the worst division. They're far from the best division. God, have they even named a starting quarterback yet? Is it going to be Drew Lock? Seahawks starting QB. Seahawks Pete Carroll hints at adjusted plan for Drew Lock. Okay. Pete Carroll adjusts plan to give Drew Lock chance to win QB job. This is 6 hours ago. See, so Seattle Sports. I could probably do a whole segment on the Seahawks QB, like a QB situation here. All signs point to Geno Smith being Seahawks Week 1 starting quarterback. This is as of 9:51 a.m. Pacific time, August 23rd, today. So I'm not going to go into a whole thing right now. This isn't what I'm doing, but it looks like Geno Smith is going to be the starter, and if anything, I think that's just an indication of how the Seahawks are this year. Again, I think 5-6 wins are about as good as they're going to do. I think D tier. They might be the best of the D tier, but I think they're D tier. Miami. The team that Tyreek Hill left Kansas City for. They're kind of one of my biggest enigmas here. I've kind of a difficult time pinpointing where they're going to be, because they're in a division with Buffalo, with the Patriots, and who's the other? Oh, the Jets. That's right. Okay. Yeah. So look, Miami is going to be decent this year. I don't think they're going to be that bad. I don't know if I'm going to put them up. I'm trying to think about where I can put them. I know they're C or D. Man, wait, where'd they go? Oh, there they are. I think B tier is too high. I think C tier is just right. I do think they are going to be better than a lot of these teams. I think they're going to be about on par with the Falcons. I think Tua is going to have a pretty solid year. I think you have a player like Tyreek Hill who's going to make them better. I still think they're the third best team in that division, behind obviously the Bills and then obviously the Patriots, who I think are going to be okay this year. I think they'll be good. I think Tua will keep his job going forward, after this year, but I don't see them being that good. I don't have them necessarily as a playoff team. They're probably going to be a 9, maybe 10-win team if things kind of break their way, but ultimately I think best of the C-tier teams are about where they're going to be. Maybe like kind of one of those on-the-cusp teams. Maybe they win maybe they get into like a wild card. Probably not because of how the AFC West is, but nonetheless, I think this is a good spot for them. It just feels right. The Saints. I think the Saints are probably rebuilding is when I think of like kind of a word to describe. If I had to do like a word association thing for the Saints, I think rebuilding is the word I would use for them. I do think Jameis Winston is not the worst quarterback out there. I think he's actually going to be all right. So I'm going to actually go ahead and drop them. I'm going to actually drop them in D tier. I don't think they're going to be one of those teams that's in contention for like a number 1 overall pick or anything like that. Do I put them above the Bears? I think I do, because they do have, also other than the quarterback situation, I think they are better than the Bears. Actually, I'll even go as far as to say I think they'll be better than the Panthers. Well, no, I'm not. But I do think... Yeah, because I think they have better weapons. And I think the weapons will make them look a little bit better than they actually are. But I think this is Jameis Winston's last shot to really kind of solidify himself as a starting QB in the NFL. Now, one thing I will say the Saints did that was really, really smart this year, and that was take Taysom Hill out of the quarterback room. So Taysom Hill has officially moved to a tight end position. They'll probably still have a few plays in there built into the playbook for him to throw the ball. And honestly, why wouldn't you if you have that weapon available? But all things considered, I think that was really smart of the Saints to do. Just remove that distraction. Just be like, Taysom, you're a tight end now. We're going to put you over there. We might throw a few plays in there for you to like throw the football, maybe a couple wildcat plays, but ultimately I thought that was a very smart decision by the Saints. I think they have good leadership. They have good people in the front office. They have good people at the head coaching position. But ultimately, I don't think they're going to have the most successful of seasons, and I think that is actually a good spot for them. Now, I like how this is kind of going like good team, bad team, good team, bad team, good team, bad team. I think this has actually been a pretty nice, kind of nice flow here. So, Broncos. Where do I think the Broncos are going to end up? I think the Broncos, again, AFC West, I think they're A tier. I don't know if they're going to be I think they'll be better than Kansas City. I don't know if they'll be better than Baltimore. I'm really high on Baltimore this year if Jackson can stay healthy. If Jackson can stay healthy, Baltimore is going to be really, really good. But I also think the Broncos are going to be really, really good. The Broncos are going to be an awesome team this year. I think with Russell Wilson there, I don't know how you're not a fan of that team doing well. I mean, I love Russell Wilson. He's a former Seahawk. Kind of hope he loses week 1 to the Seahawks. I just think that would be poetic justice. But all likelihood, they're going to absolutely just knock the socks off the Seahawks. So knock the socks off the Seahawks. There you go. There you go, Broncos Nation. If you need a slogan, there you go. But ultimately, I think they're an A-tier team. I don't know if I have anyone in the AFC West actually winning the Super Bowl because I think they're absolutely going to cannibalize each other. I think the Raiders, again, they're all going to be really, really good. Kansas City's got... The only reason I don't have Kansas City above any of them is because I think it's going to be... Again, it's just their schedule. The Broncos have a fairly kind of middle-of-the-road schedule. I think they'll be really, really good. But ultimately, I think this just feels right for me. Kind of like top of 8, like middle of A tier, I think is really good. You know, I think I'm actually going to move the Colts down here, I think. I think B tier is probably a good spot. Yeah, I'm going to move them down to B tier. I think they're going to be a really good team. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I think it'll be, no, I'm going to keep them at A tier. I might reassess later, but okay. No, see, like I said, good team, bad team, good team, bad team. We got a bad team. We got the Giants. We got an F tier. I do not think the Giants are going to be really good this year at all. I think they might be the best of the F tier teams. I just don't. I feel bad for New York football, man. This is bad. Daniel Jones, I don't think is the answer there at all. Saquon Barkley, as much as I love that guy, I really just don't think they have a lot going for him. I think F tier for New York. I think maybe if I'm generous, I go D tier. I don't think they'll be a number one. I don't think they're going to get the number one overall pick, but I think they will be probably a top 5 pick. So F tier for the New York Giants. Sorry. I also don't see Saquon Barkley staying healthy all year. I don't. Sorry. I mean, if there's anyone in chat who wants to dispute, wants to make a case for the New York Giants, like, by all means, feel free. If you're watching this and you want to make a comment on it, like, please do. I am willing to hear out Giants Nation on you being a better team than F tier, but honestly, you got to prove it to me. Anyway, the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to be sneaky good this year as well. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a breakout year. I think this is his 3rd year at the start of the league, at the helm of the Eagles. 2nd year? I think it's his 3rd year. Second year full-time, 3rd year total. And I think he's going to have a breakout year. I'm actually going to go ahead and drop them in B tier. I think they're going to be right there next to the Cowboys in terms of who wins that division. I think the Cowboys ultimately will pull away with it, but I think the Eagles are going to be making a case for being the best team in that division. I'm not really a fan of that division in general, but I don't know how the Cowboys-Eagles aren't must-watch TV. So, yeah, I'm going to be paying really close attention to that one. I'm also kind of curious to know what Philly fans think of Jalen Hurts. I'm a fan of him. I think he's definitely unique in a lot of different ways. But I think if he can improve his accuracy downfield, I think he's going to be really, really special for Philly. Speaking of teams that I think are going to be really special this year, the Browns. Or not the Browns. The Bengals, the other team from Cleveland. Joe Burrow, I think, is going to be a very special quarterback. I have him just outside of my top 5 QBs at the moment, although I think he will very quickly work his way in. I'm going to go ahead and drop them in B tier at the moment. I also don't think they're going to be one of those cursed teams. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about when I mean, if you're not familiar with what the Super Bowl curse is, it's something that happened to my Raiders when they were in the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay back in, I believe it was 2001. I was in like middle school or high school at the time. But the Raiders made the Super Bowl and then they just plummeted. I think it was like 15, 16 years before they made the playoffs again. It's been tough to be a Raiders fan. I'm not going to lie. I don't think this is going to be the case with the Bengals, though. Yes, they did get to the Super Bowl. Yes, they lost the Super Bowl. It was a very good Super Bowl, though, and I think the Bengals are going to be just fine. I think they have a lot of good stuff around there. I know Eli Apple gets a lot of crap for, being, a weaker player in the secondary, but if he's still starting there, maybe he bounces back. I don't know. I would love to see an Eli Apple revenge tour. I think that would just be great. That's great TV. Ultimately, I think the Bengals are going to be a really good team this year. Do they win that division? Maybe, probably not. I don't know if I have them above Baltimore, who I think is going to be a very special team if they can stay healthy. But I think they're going to be a very good team. I think I'm going to keep them at B tier. I think the best of the B tier. I think they're definitely better than Dallas and Philly. I think they're about on par with Green Bay. But I like the chemistry that the Bengals have. I'm going to go ahead and put them above Green Bay, actually. I don't know. That just feels good to me. I like that. All right. Steelers. Not going to have the best year this year. I think with Pickett, I think there's been a lot of questions around him so far. I've heard he's kind of had an iffy camp. I've heard he's able to pick up things really, really fast. He's really, really smart. He's also a little older for a rookie quarterback. I think he's like 25 or something like that. How old is Kenny Pickett? Let's see. Kenny Pickett. Yeah, because I believe he's a little older. And I don't think there's any talk about Pittsburgh starting. I don't think there's any talk about Pittsburgh starting. He's 24. Yeah, 6'6", 1998. I don't think there's any talk about Mitch Trubisky getting the nod ahead of Kenny Pickett, although I wouldn't necessarily think that's the worst idea in the world. Mitch Trubisky is also a very smart quarterback, and I think could do a lot in terms of being a guy that Kenny Pickett could sit behind and learn from. Do I think Kenny Pickett's going to be like a Patrick Mahomes kind of player where they sit for a year or two and they learn the system like Aaron Rodgers? No. But I think he could be a very, very good NFL quarterback. But I think if you're the Steelers and you're probably not going to have a good year, and by all accounts, doesn't sound like they're going to. I think you might move off Kenny Pickett really quick. If he doesn't have a good year this year, I think there's a possibility that the Steelers, looking at the draft class of next year coming out of college, might go for like a CJ Stroud or something like that. But as far as where I place them on the tier list, I don't think they're an F tier. I think they're probably more D tier. Although I think they're probably going to be okay. At first, I didn't have them good at all. My original preseason rankings was like they win like 3 games, but 9 wins. You think 9 wins for the Steelers? Oh, you know what? As you mentioned earlier, Tomlin. Yeah, I think he will have a good effect for him. You know what? I'm going to be generous because who else is in that division? It's with dysfunctional Cleveland, the Browns. It's just out. The Browns are probably their biggest competition because I don't think they're going to get by Baltimore. I don't think they're going to get by Cincinnati. I think that's 4 losses right there for them out of the gate. Peter, you've convinced me. I'm gonna actually move them up to C tier and the reason I say that is because I'm looking at them compared to the Lions and the Browns. I think they'll be better than the Browns. I'll give them that. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna put them there, kind of in C tier, kind of that. Maybe if things break the right way, they're kind of in the playoff conversation. I don't think they make it, but I think they might make it interesting. All right, there you go, Peter. You've convinced me. I think that's fair. I still don't think they're going to have a great year, but because of just some of the stuff going on with Kenny Pickett, I hope he has a great year. I genuinely do. I'm rooting for Kenny Pickett. I've always loved the idea of the guy who grew up in the area, played for the local college team, and then played for the professional team. We had a guy here in Portland who was the same guy. Ima Udoka, actually the head coach for the Boston Celtics. Went to Grant High School here in Portland, played at Portland State University, go Vikes. And then got drafted by the Portland Trailblazers. I love stories like that, and I would love for Kenny Pickett to be just the next iteration of that. But we'll see. I'm gonna go ahead. I think this is fair for them right now. Kind of middle of the pack. I'm kind of curious to know where I put them before. I wanna see. I'll get to that here in a little bit though. Bills, undisputed. I think they are the best team in the NFL. I'm not even gonna spend a lot of time on that. Go Bills. They are my other team. They have been my third team for a really long time. I have suffered being a Raiders and a Bills fan for many, many years. Thank you, Seahawks, for being good during that stretch. But ultimately, Bills Nation, Bills Mafia, you are going to be the team to beat this year, I think. And, I cannot wait to watch it. I think Josh Allen had like one series this year, like this preseason, and he just drove down the field and just for instant touchdown. 3 for 3 for like 87 yards and a touchdown. Just, yeah, Josh Allen's going to have a phenomenal year this year. I think he's potentially going to be in the MVP. No, I don't even think he's going to be in the potential. He's a potential. I think he will be in the MVP conversation for the regular season. Arizona. I don't like some of the things going on in Arizona with some of the distractions that Kyler Murray had. I know like Video Game Gate is going to be a topic of conversation. I think I saw a thing on Twitter a little while ago about so Kyler Murray, for those of you who don't know, is a big Call of Duty fan. Twitter, let's go. Kyler Murray. If I can find it really quick, I'm going to put it up. Just it's Kyler Murray. Twitter. No, Kyler Murray. What did I say? Call of Duty NFL stats. Because someone did it was like a Reddit thing where someone put up like every time a Call of Duty game comes out or there's like a double XP weekend, his actual performances in NFL games goes down. And I just think this is crazy to me. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. Yeah. Let's see. Make sure they remove the guys who was a huge mess. Oh, man. Okay, here we go. Charlie Intel. Let's see. Come on, you going to put it up here? Hold on, let's see if... I think I just clicked on the user. Here we go. Charlie Intel. A statistical analysis of Kyler Murray's performance on Call of Duty Double XP weekend. Kyler Murray's average passer rating on non-Double XP weekends is 97.43, very solid, and 89.65 on Double XP weekends, showing a minus 7.77 differential. Passing yards, he throws on average 6 less. Murray's completion average non-XP. Let's see. Win-loss record. Murray's record in non- double XP weekends 18-16-1, and on double XP weekends 4-7-0. There's a lot that could potentially explain this, but honestly, it's something you have to think about. The double XP weekends. Yep. He's been a victim of that. But honestly, I think they're going to be a decent team this year. I think the loss of D-Hop, probably more so than anything else, is going to be the thing that kind of hinders them. I think they'll be a good team. I think they're going to be a C team. I think they're going to be probably somewhere around there. I don't think they're going to be as good as the 49ers. I don't think they're certainly not going to be as good as the Rams. I'm going to go ahead and dump them down here. I think at the best of C tier. I think they're going to be one of those fringe playoff teams. But I think they'll be good. I think they'll be fun. Speaking of the NFC West, San Francisco, I think they're going to be a good team this year. I think they are the most interesting team for me this season. I think they're a solid B-tier team. I think a lot of this is predicated on Trey Lance. I think if Trey Lance does end up being the guy, I think they're going to be really, really good. Deebo Samuel's apparently been speaking about how I think that Trey Lance is moving along quite nicely. So I'm very excited to see what they can do. That defense is obviously going to be lighting it up. I think they're going to be a really, really good team. So I think a bottom end of B tier, I think, is a solid place for them. I think they're definitely better than Arizona. I don't think they're as good as Dallas or Philly, but I think they're certainly better than a lot of these all of these C tier teams. So I think that's a good place for San Francisco. Let's see. But the Jets, I think the loss of why am I spacing his name? Wilson. The loss of oh my gosh, why am I spacing his first name? I just said it like 5 times. I was talking about him today. Oh my god. Jets QB. Wilson. Zach Wilson. There we go. I don't know why I was saying like Scott Wilson. Like, who the hell is Scott Wilson? Sounds like a freaking like realtor. Scott Wilson, quarterback? No, realtor. All right, here we go. Yeah, Zach Wilson. I mean, he's going to be out for a little while. I believe I saw that he is. Let's see, Zach Wilson surgery. Zach Wilson undergoes successful knee surgeries from 8 days ago. I believe he's supposed to be out 2 to 4 weeks. Yep, 2 to 4 weeks. Zach Wilson's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks recovery period. New York Jets, Zach Wilson underwent successful knee surgery on Tuesday. So it was last Tuesday, not today, a week from today. Wilson is recovering nicely and still an outside shot to play week 1 against Baltimore, although I don't believe that is going to be the case anymore. I believe I saw something earlier today that Joe Flacco will actually be leading the first team. And if Joe Flacco has a really good first game, do they stick with him? I don't know. I have no idea. Ultimately, though, I think the Jets are not going to be that good this year. I really don't. I'm hoping for Zach Wilson. I hope he has a good year, but I think Joe Flacco potentially comes in and is going to be the guy going forward, but I still don't think they're going to be that good. For me, it's just a matter of, okay, which New York team is going to be worse? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to say the Jets are better than the Giants. Actually, no, I'm not. There we go. The Vikings. So, the Vikings, I think, are going to be interesting. I have the Vikings being the best team in the NFL record-wise. They have the easiest schedule of any team I've ever seen. I'm going to go ahead and drop them. I don't put them A tier. I'm actually going to drop them here, actually. I think they're going to have a very, very, very good year. They have the softest schedule. I'm not going to go ahead and bother putting it up on screen. Go look it up yourself, and everyone should immediately go put $100 on the Vikings winning their over/under. I think they're at like 9.5 or something like that. 9.5 games. to win, they're going to win like 14 games. Like, they have the easiest schedule I've ever seen an NFL team have. Although, like, they're going to be the best team to make the playoffs, the best team in the NFL record-wise, get to the playoffs and lose in the second round to, like, the Rams. I think that's probably just going to be what happens in Minnesota. They're going to have a phenomenal regular season. I think Kirk Cousins is going to look like an MVP for a little while. I think eventually he fades, but ultimately I think the Vikings are going to be really, really good. I think Justin Jefferson is going to have a phenomenal year. Patriots. I think they're a solid B-tier team. I really don't have a lot to say about them. I think Bill Belichick leading that team. And I think Mac Jones is going to be a solid quarterback. Not really a whole lot else going on there. I think they're just going to be a solid team. Nowhere near. I think they're going to get their butts kicked by the Bills. But ultimately, I think they're going to have a successful season. I think they're better than Miami, and I think they're certainly better than the Jets. So I think a B-tier team, probably a playoff berth for who are you? The Patriots are going to be, I think that's likely. Tennessee. I think Tennessee, I don't know. They're a team, I know next to nothing of what they're going to do. I know they were a pretty solid team last year, even without Ryan Tannehill. I think they're going to be a good team. I'll put them actually right here in C tier. I think they're going to be a team that competes for a playoff spot. I don't know if they get there. I think I think the injury bug is likely to hit them. Do I put them above Arizona? I think I do. I think I have slightly more faith in Tennessee than I do Arizona, just because the Tennessee Titans seem to have everything pretty nice and buckled in, whereas Arizona does have some chaos around them, so I'm just going to leave them there. And then, of course, the last A-tier team I have, I think who is likely going to be the team to beat this year, I think you have the Buccaneers. I think Tom Brady and his swan song this year, I think, is going to be I think they're going to be one of the teams to beat. I have them going to the Super Bowl, actually against the Bills. I have the Bills winning it, but honestly, how poetic would it be for Tom Brady to, in his final season, most likely, get to the Super Bowl and win it all one more time before riding up into the sunset one last time with his supermodel wife. I think that's entirely possible. But yeah, this is what I have. This feels really good. I'm trying to think in my head, which one, what do I think? Do I move anybody? I don't know. Anyone in chat, like, what do you all think? Do you see anything I should move? I don't know. I don't know if there's anything I should move. I kind of like this. But I do want to compare it to my original 32. Okay, here we go. Go ahead and move this here. I'm going to move this over here. And I'll move this over here. Come on. Nope. Oh, I had it. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shrink myself down a little bit. Drop myself over here. Oh, nope, that's not it. I want to grab me. I want to grab webcam. Move this over here. Here we go. Okay, so here's kind of what I had before and after. I'll go ahead and I'll move my chat down here as well. Okay. So yeah, here's what I got. So I mean, it's actually pretty close. So I got the Bills. So okay, the only thing I had the Chargers down here in A tier versus S tier. I might move the Chargers back up actually. Actually no, I think just for this, I think is going to be good. Where's my phone? I want to take a picture of this actually. I think this is good. This is TikTok content right here. Never miss a chance to get content, folks. Like rule number 1. There you go. So I think this is pretty close. I mean, a lot of it's pretty much like I have Baltimore and the Vikings pretty much right there. I had the Bengals in A tier. I have them down in B tier now. The Colts, I have them in A tier. Probably could move them down. I even had a conversation even on this stream about switching them around. All in all, I'm actually pretty happy with how these turned out. I had more F tier teams than I did D tier, I think, but a lot of the same characters that you kind of see around. Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with this. I literally have Pittsburgh in the exact same spot almost. I think that's great. But yeah, sorry, this was kind of a long video, but I really wanted to go down and kind of break down what I thought of all these teams. But yeah, so anyway, thanks you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think about my picks in the comments. Do you think my first set of picks from last week or this set of picks is is better. Did I miss anything? Is there any team that you would move around if you were in my spot? But anyway, thanks for checking it out. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so and leaving comments down and in the comment section, because where else would you do that? Because the algorithm gods like that stuff. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, YouTube. Have a good one. Take care, and have a good one. All right, bye, folks. Bye. Have a good one.